Hey everybody, Rhadamant here. Thanks for tuning in to episode 13 of RimWorld Survival. Quick recap of the goals. I haven't checked off tea house / gazebo because there's one finishing touch I need to do, and we will work towards the other goals. I think I'm going to try to build a network of tunnels to the ancient danger. 2-for-1 deal. Maybe even establish the trade route. Let's get going. Alright, so last episode we had mostly polished off the beautiful pod area, I'm going to call it, because I really have a lack of a better term. Aggro here should probably not be making the parkas. Worker aggro. No, actually, yes, aggro. I am wrong, but we'll dedicate it towards aggro. So our tea house doesn't actually have a tea shelf. That is a major oversight. So let's put the tea shelf here. Fits nicely in like Tetris. And then we're also going to want another shelf for the beer. Maybe I'll even put the beer right there. And that leaves enough space for billiards tables and stuff once we have the wood to build them. Of course, I could salvage the wood from wooden doors. I don't really want to. I like doors opening and closing quickly. But that's just my 2 cents. It actually looks pretty. No, it actually looks quite pretty out. I should use the word quite. Now that we're in the winter. One of the things I had an idea for is to possibly put a stack of rice here to try to lure some of the animals, the boomalopes and boom rats that we have on the map towards us. But I haven't quite decided on that yet. Alright, so this should be for tea. Copy the settings, paste the settings, and this will be for beer. It actually makes sense to keep the beer out there too. Because it'd be colder, but let's pretend that warm beer doesn't suck. So, the quick recap of our radiation. Stormy is the only one not irradiated. So I might have Stormy do some hauling or burying or something. One thing I really need to do soon is to get a machining bench and make a Molotov so I can actually burn up some of the dead. It is becoming maybe a little bit of a problem. I'm also going to shrink this zone a little. We can always store the marble blocks outdoors, but given that if they're outdoors, fetching them causes radiation, it's best to probably just leave space indoors for it. So if I want a network of tunnels towards the ancient danger, we are going to have to dig this way. But what I'm going to do is, I'm not yet ready to add it in for zoning reasons, because everyone that would be doing the mining has too high radiation. You know, it's, i.e. it's not safe, is I guess what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to have to wait for these guys to heal up a little bit. It's not really the way the radiation works in real life. A lot of people have been mentioning that real radiation would irradiate the atmosphere and it would be unbreathable, etc., etc. I get that. I know that this isn't actual radiation. It's role-playing. It's fantastical radiation. It's radiation that is caused only... Ooh, that is a pretty color. Only by, you know, exposure to the outdoors. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. It is for design purposes only. So, just a quick reminder to all of you, today is vote day. So if you would like to determine goals for me for next week, what you got to do is just go to Rhadamant.com or Discord announcement section and cast your vote. That's it. That's all you got to do. It's pretty simple. All right, Mr. James. Oh, sweet Jesus. Free explosion in my base. Extinguishing fire should be a higher priority than 3. These guys were just like, oh, okay, there's a giant fire. All right, no problem. Just gonna ignore it. And that's really not a good way to act. Someone pointed out that, I'm sorry I didn't write down who this was. Okay, Turtle Sandwich pointed out, I did write it down, that access to the power grid would take an unruly amount of time, given that I'd have to go around. So I'm going to put a door in here, specifically here because it is insulated. And that way, if I need to stand in the doorway to defend against would-be raiders, we can without building up radiation. Nice! We have a brownout. Well, the high-tech research bench is still powered. I guess that's really all that matters. It's due to that short circuit plus nighttime mix of things. But no, well, we are zigzagging or... Yeah. I hate the sound of browning out. Luckily, it did not ruin our first batch of beer, so that's good. One of the beautiful things about living underground is that it is temperature changes aren't drastic. They're very small. Come on, wind. You're killing me. You're killing me. All right, let's do some manual flick. Trying to conserve power where we can. I want the comms console up and ready again because it's one of our lifelines, but the fact that I'm generating no power is a problem. Now, there was an idea that I could use chem fuel and boomalopes and that kind of stuff to power my base, and that's a very good point, and quite possibly that's something I'll end up doing. All right, thank you, sunlight. All right, so the parka, we need 2 more parkas, one for Stormy, one for Tony, and then we'll be nice and insulated. We still need cloth for 1 more parka, so I'm growing it now. Stormy is mostly spending his time inside, so yeah, it's a little easy to just ignore the fact that he needs a parka. All right, let's check out the health. We're still at minor. Yeah, the radiation buildup really does not subside in a significant way. And there's a lot of pain involved, so there's a lot of negative mood modifiers with this radiation. Gotta keep indoors, which sucks. All right, so tiling up the rest of the tea house. And I know it's not much of a gazebo, but I can't have a freestanding outdoor building that would kill the people trying to use the room, which in my mind would sort of defeat the purpose of, you know, said tea house. But Turtle Sandwich and Travis both mentioned that a tea house really isn't a tea house without tea storage. So there you go. We got tea storage. David Sawicki, or Savicki, mentioned that pathing, like pathing tiles between gaps in the mountains would help to, there would be an initial cost setting it up, but it would help to provide speed to limit the amount of radiation built. So that's a good point, meaning that we really need to build these walls, huh? Stormy, what is your construction is like dismally bad. Tony, this is gonna be you. I really want these walls built. And then we're gonna work on this wall here. But with that in mind, it would mean something like this. We would have marble flagstone, like that. And that would help to limit the amount of radiation buildup between moving around. Now, additionally, because of the amount of radiation I've acquired, I really ought to do some mining around in the base here. A network of tunnels doesn't necessarily mean the tunnels have to go somewhere. In fact, it would kind of help to have ways to shoot at incoming enemies all around the mountain so that I could pop out, fire a little bit, and then pop back in behind a door. In fact, that's exactly what I'm going to add. Alright, so for this to happen, I gotta add these to no radiation zones. And this will allow me to be extra cheeky. And then this tunnel here is just looking for ores. Nothing all that special. And then this is just to expand this stockpile area. I might even separate this stockpile area out from the rest of the base. Man, I gotta say that my batteries really haven't recovered from that short circuit event. Let's see. Where am I using a lot of power? I feel like I'm generating a fair bit of power. Well, I guess my wind turbines aren't spinning that fast. That might be it. Don't botch it, Tony. Alright, at miner now. Miner. Wow, actually way too close for Jane's here. I'm just gonna have to stay underground for a bit, I think, is the answer here. So I'm gonna remove all that. What I really need is two different paths. One that basically keeps them underground forever, and one that allows them to travel between underground pathing. As there's somewhat of a difference, safety-wise. Alright, Tony, I really, really want that granite wall, but you really need to not fail at doing it. It's a bummer that areas like this are so rich in steel, but yet so lethal in me trying to get there and do something productive. Alright, there we go. That wall is a huge boon because now raiders that want to get to my power grid either have to spawn in the east or go all the way around, which makes it really easy for me to use these two benches as a way to kill them. Alright, we're going to kill the grow light. Wow, even powering off the grow light has not really solved our power shortage issues. You know what? I'm going to put this back to Hillroot. What I really need to do is get Naturamine and be able to make medicine, because it seems like herbal medicine wasn't usable in excising cancer or tumors. And that's probably something I'm going to need to do a lot of, my guess is. I did have other tips. So Federico mentioned that I could put a 2x2 statue here to freshen up this spot. The reason I have it laid out like this is I wanted to put pod launchers here, but I didn't want to have the I wanted to have the pods loadable without having to step out into the radiation. So as you can see, each pod spot borders, in fact, let's add one. It borders a overhead roof tile, which allows us to load, because if I loaded the pods at the back, there would be a spot where we become irradiated. So that way, if we're having to load up a lot of stuff for a trade run or something, we don't build up our own radiation. We don't become irradiated, I should say. Which has its benefits, for sure. Alright, so if we wanted to shoot at enemies, we could stack a bunch of people here. Now, the only trouble using that spot is trying to get to there before the enemies can. it sometimes helps to have people or to have spots that are even closer to the base. Like one that I have in mind here is... Let's go ahead and mine that out. Can add a door there. What is getting built? Oh, Tony. No. I appreciate your... Okay, you are unrestricted. You're back on restrictions here. I'm glad I was curious about what the hell was getting built, because Tony has almost... almost dangerous levels of radiation. Poisoning. Alright, we only can afford the one fermentation barrel, but that should be enough to get another batch of beer. Just making sure that my drug policy, yeah, it involves beer. Let's try to aim for more inspirations. So allowing to have them use that at really any level. A lot of these smooth floors we can eventually replace with... Oh, there we go. Some chem fuel. What I'm going to do... is put my chem fuel here. There's no power lines or anything like that around this area. So that should be a pretty safe spot to store the chem fuel. Aggro, you are digging at marble. But I don't want you going that way. That's unhealthy. And put a door in there. Network of tunnels, indeed. Yeah, look at them using the tea house. The beauty of the tea house is it's outdoors, so they get outdoor benefits. Same with the horseshoe pin. Alright, so the no radiation zone is right now actually a no radiation zone. It doesn't have any overhead mountain. So, I'm going to call this limited radiation. And while we go, I'm going to start painting it. I know it's probably not super exciting to watch me paint zones, but this one ought to be pretty useful. So this one will include moving around our tunnel network and stuff like that. Who's on a major break risk? Tony, then stop building. Go recreate or something. Yeah, consume food, I don't know. So limited radiation zones are going to include the power grid so that we can repair it on demand. And then include a lot of the tunnels and stuff. And it won't be a perfect no radiation, but it will be a... You better not, you know, go harm yourself for too long sort of thing. If that makes sense. So I'm going to include a bunch of the paths that I already had. And it's going to be kind of annoying to maintain two different pathing zones, but that's just the way it's going to be, I think. So I will be able to check off Tea House, although I definitely did not establish a trade route. So the idea for a trade route is to pod two squares away from a home tile, or their home tile, I should say. And then set up pod launchers. Alright, so there is that limited radiation zone. And... Actually, it wouldn't irradiate me too much to start digging that way. But I probably won't until people's radiation lowers even more. Just because there's a lot of tunneling I can do in the base right now, so I might as well do that. And then I also need to add some of my doors and walls to home zones so that we repair it properly. Some of the tiles here aren't in home zone because they, I don't want to clean them. As if I clean them, it would sort of harm me. So aggro's digging around. Hopefully I hit a note of steel. Whoa. Uh-oh, that's not good. I heard him speed up. There is a lack. Okay. First off, ignore roof. Yeah, there's a lack of mountain there. Wasn't really expecting a gap, but a gap is what we got. What about some other tips? I think that's all the tips I had. I guess what I could do is start working on art. Just because it's not super safe to be doing other things. So Jane's here. You are going to be set to art. His construction's getting pretty high, though, I gotta say. What I should do is I should start to try to make better... Yeah, let me do that. Let me go and make marble dressers. They're going to take a lot of time, but that's probably a pretty fair use of his skill here. Alright, aggro hit nothing. Nothing. Let's go ahead and expand the no radiation zone. Find a way around that irradiated area. And then go back and clear limited radiation here and clear no radiation here. I hit more exposed nonsense. Come on now. I'm trying to very carefully avoid radiation, and all I can do is find tiles that want to harm me. Alright, so we found a way around. That's all that matters. Alright, let's look at this way. Good. That will work. Stormy, what were you researching again? Multi-analyzer. Ah, that's why it's taken so long. I'm actually... Oh, Tony. I guess you can make progress on the dresser as long as you're not the one that finishes it off. Because they do take a while. And then, of course, we're going to want... You know what, Tony? Your primary is going to be cleaning. I know that's kind of mean, but... Her primary will be plants and cleaning. Cleaning up has its perks. Alright, there Jane's goes for another dresser. Another excellent dresser. And we'll start to make end tables and stuff like that too. Alright, furniture. End table out of marble. So I'm building them out near my stockroom so I don't have to travel very far for the marble. And then also there's better light. Masterwork. Well, you're taking that, buddy. Alright, somewhat impressive. Yeah, the bedrooms are getting better, and that will help stabilize the mood. Because he's a very, very useful pawn, being that he is a quick sleeper and a jogger. but also difficult to use because he's volatile. You better believe I'm not letting Tony finish that off. Alright, this one's only good. Hey, better than nothing. What is the comfort here? 80. I guess we can also have it for the hospital, right? I mean, if we have a long-term stay in the hospital, it'd help to be comfortable. Slightly impressive, somewhat impressive. And if these are better than the ones that are installed, I can swap them around. Nope, they're the same quality. Alright, we're going to disturb their sleep a little bit. But as a result, this bed now has over 100% comfort, as does... Oh, this one does not. Huh. 95% comfort, still pretty good. And then 105% comfort and 90% comfort. Okay. I think what we need to do is try for a better steel bed. I don't love the idea of using our precious steel this way, but now would be a great time to get that mast work, right? Alright, there we go. Excellent bed. The difference between good and excellent is pretty significant in terms of sleep recovery and all that, which is why I think it was worth doing. Alright, so this is aggro's, and it's now going to be 105%. So if you look at the rest effectiveness, 114% versus, you know, 100% or whatever. That I know this one's normal, but it's a pretty big difference of the amount that you have to sleep to feel recovered. I haven't really had any of the trapped underground problems in a while. Stormy definitely does, but everyone else spends periodic time outdoors, and that's a good thing. Oh, I didn't realize that we had finished this. Another thing I can do is to have Tony. I know you have a bad back, but you are going to be our hauler too. Let's go ahead and haul chunks here. Preferred for chunks. Slag included. Alright, these doors are going to be important to get built quick. Man, this radiation takes a long time. Gotta be careful. Chem fuel's a little bit safer loaded into a pod launcher than sitting around, so. Although I kind of wish I loaded the one up that has the pod, but whatever. So yeah, here's a steel bed. Rest effective is 108 versus 114. But maybe I'll leave that bed, just in case I get another person. I won't have to build one. If I really need the steel, it's good to know that I can break down a bed, though. Alright, starting to get a little organized. Stormy is still trying to push ahead with the research there. Takes a while. And I really haven't had any raids or anything, and really sort of, honestly, a little concerned. The lack of raids concerns me because, like, what the hell? Why is it being so peaceful, Mr. Randy? This is what Joggis looks like. Negative 14 Celsius. Oh, marriage time. I'll be damned. Marriage spot. We don't have one. Maybe they'll use it. I really need to put a party spot down. I never really do. Well, at least this will, Stormy wanted to research rather than attend his own wedding. There we go. Okay, they're not using that. Well, that will be a bit of a mood boon, for certain. Let's just hope that this is a relationship that stays solid. Although, you know, the rivalry that we had is gone, which is very cool. Cathartic fight, I guess, helped. And now they're attending a party. Maybe we'll get some inspirations as a result. That'd be very, very cool. Because then I could, you know, make something nice, I guess. Alright, James is finishing off the smoothing. We have a very impressive workshop as a result. It's funny that even our rec room is less impressive. I could probably increase the impressiveness with better stools. Unfortunately, stools are never all that impressive. And the reason I'm using stools over chairs can only be made with non-stone. So you can make them out of like uranium or steel or gold or wood, but not stone, as you can see. I have gotten that question a few times. Because chairs are more comfortable, but I am not steel wealthy. I still have a feeling that there is probably steel left in this mountain somewhere. Maybe I'll go digging around for it. It couldn't hurt. Now, this is not paths for precious metals. And also, one thing I'm going to do is make sure that I want to have, like, one definitive way to get in the base. Oh, hello, Slate. So I'm not creating pathing that can be exploited from raiders, for instance. Network of tunnels. There's definitely a lot of steel up here, so I could also head north, and that means that I would be exposed from the radiation for a bit. Not the most comfortable. Who made these? Okay. Good, excellent, excellent, excellent. Good, good, excellent, excellent. All right. Cool. I wasn't really watching while they built those. Oh, here's a steel stool that needs to be broken down. This is probably steel as well. Ah, there we go. Compacted steel. Perfect. That's what we need. And incapacitated refugee of a relationship. It's Tony's father. That is not that far. Yeah, going for it would abuse the whole... Well, not abuse. I mean, you all voted that I shouldn't add overworld radiation. So, I guess we're going to rescue him. But I'm going to rescue him next episode. because I'm just about out of time. So if you have any feedback for me of any sort, just let me know. Reminder, today is vote day, so if you'd like to determine the goals for next week, all you got to do is Rhadamant.com or the announcement section of Discord and cast your vote. I'm looking forward to seeing what you all vote for. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you tune in next time. Adios.